Paterson, Garwood, New Jersey. I read in the paper, of course, Sheriff Froelich had passed away, and there's an opening, and there was a meeting of, I would assume, the political bosses of the county, and they selected Cryan. I don't know if it's in stone right now, but you've heard me talk about Cryan over the many years. Some of you weren't here, but anyway, I'm just going to read something. Well, let me just say, Cryan, really? You're going to do Cryan? Because, I mean, Mildred Purdy's son sounds like he even has more experience than Cryan does. But anyway, this came from Paul Mulshine's editorial. It was in the April 2013 Star-Ledger. And that was back then when all sorts of hell was breaking loose with the county. And part of it was Cryan and his 150 kinky emails that came out. And Paul Mulshine wrote that. And I just want to read this. I mean, this is the guy who's going to be our sheriff. Mulshine said, Romanco's investigators may have a hard time keeping track of county property, but they sure do a heck of a job keeping track of Assembly Joseph Cryan's romantic exploits. On the morning of February 6, 2006, a total of 13 of them converged on the State House garage in Trenton, where they were there to investigate why the Assemblyman was using a county car for trips to Trenton. Maybe they were there to tail him as he went off to Democrat Party events while on the clock in his $109,000 a year job as Union County Undersheriff. The answer is no to both of those. A team that included a captain, 4 lieutenants, and 2 sergeants collared a 36-year-old lobbyist by the name of Karen Golden after she parked and proceeded to place something on the seat of Cryan's unlocked car. Was it a bomb? Not exactly. What she had dropped off in the unlocked car was reportedly a note of condolence on the first anniversary of the death of Cryan's father, John, a longtime friend of the Golden family. Golden was charged with stalking Cryan and his new girlfriend, but Golden argued that their harassment went both ways, and she allegedly that she had an abortion after Cryan impregnated her. That's only conjecture on that one. Okay. Cryan, however, denied ever having been involved with Golden. The prosecutors parroted the denial, but then last month, the New York Post somehow came into possession of an extensive 2004 email exchange between Cryan and Golden, during which the Assemblyman implored her to do all sorts of amusing things to him in his taxpayer-funded office. In any other county, a guy like Cryan would have tried to sweep a scandal like this under the rug so he can keep that high-paying job that frees up so much time for his real job, which is keeping that machine running. Even the boys in Hudson have a sense of proper decorum. But this is Union County. The Democrats do as they desire. As for the rest of us, we get the privilege of paying for it. And earlier in that editorial, he said, what do all these items have in common? Total contempt for the taxpayer. See, the problem is you're picking this guy. He has no law enforcement, security, or safety experience. Sheriff Froelich had, I don't know, something like 55 years. Even the other Detroit undersheriff, he retired. He had so many years' experience in the field. Cryan is not made for the job. I know it's a constitutional office and he's up for election. My guess, it doesn't make a difference because he's going to get voted in. So, you know, he'll be having a nice cushy job with no experience really whatsoever. I got a lot of other issues, but I'll leave it at that. That it's just wrong. You know, you're one of the county bosses, Hudak. You probably were at that meeting and advocated for Cryan, and that's a shame. You know, that's a shame. And I suggest get back together and say goodbye to him. Maybe Assemblyman Green's son, who's an undersheriff also. I'm not too happy about patronage, but he has a lot of experience, and he's been there for a long time. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Title to them. But I find it hard to let misstatements of fact go without a comment, and I would respectfully disagree with him when he expresses so glibly that Joe Cryan has no experience to be the sheriff. I would respectfully disagree. I think that that's just a misstatement of the facts. Likewise, Mr. Mulshine does not write editorials, but he writes a political column. I think you call it an editorial gives it more weight than I think it's entitled to.